Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Kat. I personally know a lot of people currently are looking for a job, either after an unforeseen layoff or just graduate from undergrad or grad school. So I'm sure there are just a lot more of you out there facing the job interview and potentially find a job situation. That's why I want to make a few videos about interview tips and related topics. So hopefully these would help you along this journey. I think it's more as of a Q&A session. So let me know if you have any questions related to interview or preparing for interview that I can address. If you're new to my channel, I'm Catherine. I got my PhD in the United States and now working as a consultant. On my channel, I share a lot about career growth and options as well as personal growth. If you like such content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Without further ado, let's get started. So first question related to interview is, what do you do if you need to convey complex ideas concisely in an interview? This is a very common situation in interviews like business strategy or MSL positions, medical science liaison. I think there are a few steps you can take to make it easier for you. First, understand the basics. To convey complex ideas in an interview, start off by ensuring you have a solid understanding of the basics. If you cannot explain the fundamentals in simple terms, you won't be able to build upon them to illustrate more intricate concepts. Think of this as the foundation of a house. Without a strong base, the entire structure is at risk. So that means before your interview, practice explaining the core concepts of your idea to a friend or a mentor who isn't familiar with this topic. And this exercise will help you identify which parts of your explanation need to be simplified or clarified. Second is simplify the language itself. So when discussing complex ideas, it's tempting to use the industry jargon or technical terms to sound knowledgeable. So simplify just the language would help dramatically. However, in an interview, your goal is to be understood, not to impress with vocabulary. Simplify your language by using analogies or metaphors can really relate to the common experiences of the audience, aka your interviewer. This approach makes abstract or very complicated concepts more relatable and easier to grasp. Remember, clarity is key. So avoid any acronyms and technical terms unless they are well explained and necessary for your explanation. Third, have focus points. So you want to identify the most critical points of your idea and focus on them. You don't need to share every detail in an interview. Instead, concentrate on the elements that are most relevant to this position that you're applying to or this company. Think about what the interviewer needs to know to understand the value and potential impact of your idea. And by focusing on a few ideas, it's easier for the listener to follow along and remember the key takeaways. The next tip is really use examples. Examples are really powerful tool to explain complex ideas. They provide very concrete instances that can illustrate how a concept works in the real world. And those examples need to be straightforward and relevant, and really helping to paint a clear picture in the interviewer's mind. And by anchoring your idea with examples, you make it more tangible and memorable. And similar to examples, but I would say this is more optional, is the visual aids. Because the visual aids can really support your explanation. A simple diagram or chart can often convey that words alone cannot. Those visual aids can help you communicate relationships, processes, or data in a way that is instantly understandable. If you are in a virtual interview, consider having a digital visual aid ready to share on your screen. For in-person interviews, a printed graph or chart can be just as effective. The key is to ensure that any visuals are clear, relevant, and add value to your explanation. And one example could be the medical science liaison interviews. Almost all interviews, when you go towards the last round, you would be asked to make a scientific presentation. As most of you probably already have experience, making a chart or graph to explain potentially how this drug works or the mechanism behind the drug would be really helpful and deliver the message more clearly. Similarly, when you're comparing the drug versus other drugs from the competitors, it's much easier to put all of them in a graph or chart to really list pros and cons as well as the clinical data to demonstrate the points that you want to illustrate. Lastly is practice out loud. Practice delivering your explanation out loud before the interview will really help you refine your delivery and ensure that you can convey your ideas fluently and confidently. During your practice, you might discover certain phrases that cause confusion or some parts where you naturally want to elaborate more. In that case, you want to adjust your explanation accordingly. Practicing out loud also helps with pacing and timing, ensuring that you can fit all of your explanation in the given time frame within that interview. Second question is, what do you do if you want to impress employers with your knowledge of industry trends during an interview? Of course, first you have to research thoroughly. Before the interview, invest a lot of time in researching current industry trends. Dive into reputable sources such as the industry journals or news articles, as well as some professional forums. Understanding the historical context of these trends can also provide depth to your knowledge. By being able to discuss recent developments and their implications, you show employers that you are not just aware of the buzzwords, but also understand the forces shaping this industry. Second, know the impact and understand how the trends specifically impact the company that you're interviewing with is very crucial. Going beyond just the general knowledge and think about how these trends might influence the business strategy, operations, or competitive landscape. This level of insights can demonstrate that you're already thinking about how you can contribute to this company's success in light of these industry movements. Third is speak the language, right? Familiar yourself with the terminology used in discussing these trends. However, avoid any jargons that might confuse your interviewers. Instead, explain complex concepts in a way that is accessible and relevant to the business or the company's context. This shows that you're not only knowledgeable, but also have the ability to communicate effectively with a variety of stakeholders, aka circling back to the first question. And again, even with this question, you want to use examples, right? Share examples of how companies are potentially adapting to or capitalizing on these trends. Discussing some case studies or even hypothetical scenarios where you apply these trends to the company's context can be particularly compelling. This shows that you can think critically about applying your knowledge in a more practical setting. When you explain those industry trends, you want to offer some insights, your own insights or predictions about what you see the industry heading. This really demonstrates your ability to think strategically and shows that you're engaged with the industry beyond surface level news. Also, be prepared to discuss how these insights could influence the company, specifically this company that you're interviewing, their future initiatives and business strategy. So another space that could show your knowledge on industry trends is through the last part of asking the question. asking insightful questions, the right questions about how the company is addressing these trends. This not only shows your interest in the company's strategy, but also opens up a dialogue where you can further demonstrate your knowledge and analytical skills. This also turns the interview into a two-way conversation and helps establish a connection with your interviewers. So the last question of this video, it is not really a question directly related to the interview itself, but very important to prepare for the interview. So that is how you can effectively research the company before an interview. So first, of course, everybody knows you have to look at the company website. Your first stop should be the company's official websites. Here you can learn about the company's mission, values, and culture. Pay really close attention to the About Us section and any available annual reports or company news. This will give you a solid understanding of the company's goals and how they position themselves in the market. Additionally, review their products or services to get a sense of what they offer and who their target audience is. And this can provide very valuable context for interview answers. Next step, naturally, the social media. Those platforms are a goldmine for current company information. Check their LinkedIn, X, Facebook, and Instagram accounts even, depends on what type of company that you interview with, to really get a feel for their brand voice and how they engage with their customers and employees. You might find posts about recent achievements, community involvement, or upcoming projects. And this information can help you ask insightful questions during the interview. And of course, at the same time, show that you're up to date with company's latest developments. Next up has to be industry news. You want to stay informed about the industry in which the company operates is crucial. Look for recent articles, press releases, and the reports that mention the company. This will help you understand the competitive landscape and any challenges or opportunities the company might be facing. Being knowledgeable about industry trends shows that you're not just interested in the job, also committed to contributing to the company's success within the industry. Next, I've said probably a million times, is get insights from employees. So you can go to the Glassdoor website, for example, to look at reviews from current or former employees, to just have a glimpse into the company's working environment and culture. Even though you should take those reviews with a grain of salt, those reviews can reveal patterns or common themes that are worth considering. And additionally, if you know someone who works or has worked at the company, don't hesitate to reach out and ask for their perspective. Even you don't know this company, reach out to them via LinkedIn and build your connection from there. For public traded companies, you should also look at financial statements and investor relationships page. There, it can review a lot about their financial health and business strategies. Understanding key financial metrics such as revenue, profit margins, and market share can give you an idea of company's performance and stability. And of course, those information are particularly helpful if you're applying for a role related to finance, business development, or strategy. So these are the 3 questions that I want to cover in this video, and I hope you guys like such content and find it to be helpful. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Don't forget to thumb up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.